It's only been about 10 days since I sold off most of the Colombian tetra, but I have been feeding the remaining 16 adult Colombian tetra some high-grade foods. So I decided to go ahead and do a gravel vacuum, and perhaps they have been breeding and I might possibly have caught some eggs. Here's a look at the tank. I placed a sponge over the intake of the hang on the back filter and a heater. Now, past experience has shown me that it's probably not going to have any fry until I do several water changes. So each time I do a water change in the 120, I'll remove perhaps about half of this water carefully with a siphon so as not to suck up any fry, and then replace that water with water that I vacuum out of the 120. And eventually this process should result in some Colombian tetra eggs. The water wisteria in my 75-gallon tank was growing very well. However, the lower portion of the plants, the leaves tend to deteriorate. So I decided to remove the nice leafy upper portion of the plants, clip them off, and plant them in other tanks. And I clipped the stems and put them in a gallon jar with potting soil. And I'm pleased to see that the remaining portion of the plant is beginning to sprout leaves, so hopefully these stems will be nice viable plants. Here's a close-up of the plants in this area. Stems growing some leaves there of water wisteria. Nice water wisteria in the foreground, and then some anubias on the driftwood decorations. So it's coming along nicely. I put the stems in this gallon jar next to the window, and I put potting soil in the water, and some of the stems have some leaves sprouting on them, so this appears to be working out rather well. Here's a closer look at the stems. Each one of these have leaves sprouting on them, so hopefully I'll have some viable plants. This one doesn't have any. It's got a root on it. It might sprout some leaves, but apparently these are going to be viable plants. My potting soil shrimp tank is looking very lush with the clippings I took off the top of the water wisteria added to the foliage. The Java moss has grown so much that it's almost completely obscured the shards of driftwood on which it is anchoring, and it's beginning to attach to that hide that holds the heater. And the shrimp are breeding, and I have some shrimplets in the tank. So overall, I'm very happy with this setup.